Moving to the other side of the world is tough. We know this firsthand from our experience moving to Australia during a global pandemic. To help decide whether making the move to Australia is for you, this series aims to share with you the highs and the lows of the migration journey to both help and inspire you to make the move yourself. If you think you're going to need a little bit of help moving to Australia, then this series is sponsored by our friends at True Blue Migration Services. Get yourself a free visa assessment when you mention that Johnston Life, and let them tell you your best chances of moving to Australia. Speak to them now on their website at www.truebluemigration.com. Our guests today, like us, made the move to Australia with a young family. But unlike us, their whole migration journey has taken less than 6 months. Adam and Annie made the move with their young son Isaac just last week and are talking to us today with fresh eyes as new migrants to Australia. Welcome, Adam and Annie. How's it going?
Morning.
We're good.
You are a week into your new lives in Australia. How does it feel?
It's feeling good.
It feels really good. It feels...
You sound tired.
Yeah.
A little tired. Oh, little one's just woken up. Hello.
Hello.
We're probably just getting over the jet lag now, just getting into the normal sleep pattern. But we're doing well. We're seeing a lot. We're doing a lot of good stuff.
And you've ended up in Melbourne.
We have,
Yep.
yes.
Why did you choose Melbourne?
That would be me. So I did part of my degree here, just like 6 months kind of study abroad thing. That was in 2015, I think, and I loved it straight away. So as soon as I finished my degree, I went and did a working holiday, and I spent another 6 months in Melbourne. Then I did some travelling, but yeah, as soon as I got back, well, actually, I met Adam shortly after I got back, and then started the process of convincing him to move here.
And how difficult was it to convince him to move to Australia?
It was actually not difficult at all. And your videos helped convince him, actually, because
Thank you very much.
obviously I was telling him everything about it, but I think he needed a little bit more and like someone else to help convince him as well, rather than just me.
I definitely agree.
So he got onto YouTube and found you.
The first place to look, it was like, I knew that Melbourne looked like a really good city, and I knew that from what Annie has said, it sounded like the sort of place that I could see myself living. But then like the first thing was to get on YouTube and just even get ideas and just sort of see someone else who has gone through what we're wanting to go through, and then literally your face popped up on YouTube, and then literally we've just
my ugly face. Sorry for that.
No, there's a little one.
We've
by
got
the way,
someone joining us now.
Oh, how are they finding things?
He's good. He's probably more settled than us, to be honest.
Yeah,
like, he's absolutely sorted with the time zones. Like he's completely got his bedtime and everything fixed. Whereas we're like,
he had it before us.
Yeah.
I always find when you fly over, especially to Australia or any long distance place, you want to kind of go for the sleep as much as you can and hope that when you wake up, you're well rested enough if it's the beginning of the day. But then if it's the end of the day, you kind of want to be rested enough, but that so you can sleep. And then the next day that you wake up, it doesn't really work.
Yeah,
that's just my
it doesn't work. I think that's
whatever
what
you do.
Whatever you do, nothing will quite work.
I think it's just time.
Yeah, I think the main thing was if we could get Isaac to work,
the rest would follow.
Yeah, the rest would follow. Like we'd rather him be sorted than us be like, oh, we're sleeping, but he's not, because that just wouldn't work anyway. So
yeah,
that's always the way to think about it with kids, and then ironically, they're the ones that adapt quicker than us.
Exactly, it's so true.
Yeah, he's fine now.
Like a child.
It's so true.
Fantastic.
He's great.
So tell us a little bit more about yourselves, your lives back in Coventry. What was it like?
Last December, we bought our first house in Coventry because, well, it was either buy a house or all our savings would just gradually be depleted in rent. Mm-hmm. We obviously wanted to move to Australia, but the cost involved is massive, and it was either do that or get a house because we didn't know how long it would take, all the visa process to actually get here. And yeah, we're just trying to enjoy our life in Coventry as best we could. But we really like traveling and going on holiday, and we could only really do that like once or twice a year. So yeah, we were just kind of always looking forward to getting away.
Yeah, it's always looking forward to something else rather than like what's going on right now, I think. And I think that's where, like after COVID as well, because I'd already applied because I'm an occupational therapist, so I'd already done my stage 1 skills assessment in 2020, so mid-COVID. So we'd already started the ball rolling a little bit, but I think it was just that after all of that had lifted, and then we could kind of like see things differently again. I think it just sort of sowed the seed that we were still thinking about Australia a bit. Like we'd kind of put it to bed for a little bit, but then it was still sort of a background thought.
Yeah,
really.
like we had the baby in April this year, and pretty much.
Congratulations as
Thank
well.
you. After literally, he must have been a few weeks old, and Adam just suddenly started talking about Australia again. I think just because once you have a baby, like everything changes and your outlook on life. And we were in this tiny house. Like we loved our house, but it was so small, and we didn't really have any prospects of being able to get any more space. And we're thinking, what are we going to do, you know, in like 5-10 years? We wouldn't be able to have another baby in that house. And even having one baby, it was like, we feel a bit, couldn't see like where the future was heading in Coventry.
What house did you have? Was it 2-bed,
Yeah,
3
just a
beds?
2-bed.
New build 2-bed.
Yeah.
Same as what my brother-in-law's kind of in at the moment.
Yeah, it's just
I mean,
small.
our first flat was a 2-bed as well. And just thinking to ourselves, that was expensive.
Yeah.
Just thinking to yourself, wow, raising. I mean, people do, and
Yeah.
bloody good luck to them.
Yeah,
but
like
if there's a choice,
it's possible, but it's not exactly easy.
Yeah.
And like that was really all we could afford, and we couldn't, you know, see when and where that would get any better.
Another thing as well is like spending a whole life thinking, if we got this to make the house look nicer, can we even put that somewhere? And like everything having to be like space saving. It's more like it was okay and we could get by, but it was just little things like that were just like quite frustrating, to be honest.
you're having to make big sacrifices in your life, and you're just thinking, there's got to be a better
That's
way.
the thing. Every single thing, like a sofa or a bed, literally had to be measured to the last centimetre.
Apart from obviously having to measure everything in your house, what were the other important reasons to make the move for you guys?
Oh, I think it was definitely a better lifestyle overall. Was kind of like the umbrella thing, and then I think there were a few things from that. So I've said a city to feel at home in is one thing, and for me, definitely being able to work while Annie can support Isaac. So a really really big thing is that Annie's always felt she wanted to bring up Isaac rather than having to go back to work. Why would you want to just have to work just to be able to
pay for childcare?
Pay for childcare, really. So
someone else to look after your
much,
kids.
So I'm someone who I like kind of working and being busy and that sort of thing anyway, but being, I'm going to be able to get paid enough so that Annie doesn't have to work. And this is only as an entry-level OT, which is a lot less responsibility than I was on at home, for a lot better pay.
So at home, I'd be going back to work in January. My mum, maybe childcare, and Adam's mum, a combination of all those people would be looking after Isaac, and
just to get by as well, isn't
exactly.
it?
Like we wouldn't be able to be saving for a bigger house or have loads of holidays. So yeah, this was kind of like a no-brainer really, because his money is just going to be so much better. We're kind of going to be like having the same income, but I won't be working, which is crazy.
Which is crazy.
And then if you did choose to down the line, that's only just kind of a bonus, really.
Exactly.
It's on top of that. We had exactly the same kind of experience with Sam. Me not necessarily joining as entry level. I'm at the top of the pay scale because I've been teaching for so long, but even just as a standard teacher, again, with very few of the responsibilities, I'm on the most money I've ever been on in my life, just for doing probably, the thing that I'm so used to doing. I wouldn't want to do it blindfolded. The kids would end up doing something, but you know what I mean? And just being able to be afforded that opportunity and to not have to sit there grinding constantly just to get by, just to be able to save the little things. It's just giving you choices, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do I want to look after my children? Do I want to go back to work for a little bit? Even if you do choose to look into childcare subsidy and what that kind of does offer you childcare wise. I mean, I think I was talking about it to Sam today, and we're thinking about, she's kind of back at work a little bit at the moment, just to be able to try things out while I'm the primary carer. But kind of going forward, if she if she goes to work, she basically needs to clear about $30 or $40 just to break even on the childcare, because obviously I kind of chip in with it as well.
Yeah.
But that's what it works out to us. So it's kind of an opportunity cost. Do you want to look after your children? You can do that because actually money isn't a worry anymore.
Yeah.
Or if you want to, especially with childcare subsidy, it's not costing loads,
Right.
and the quality is really, really good. We're really happy with where Aurora is, and you know, when Sierra gets a little bit older, she'll join as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's really good to know.
What visa are you guys on?
We're on a 482, and that's
Okay,
with
so what's that?
So that's a work-sponsored one. So it's a four-year sponsored visa, with the option to extend to permanent residency after, I think, as early as 18 months. That's not a quote, that's just what I've been told. But
okay, so after 18 months, you could look into permanent residency through your visa.
Yes.
Fantastic.
And that's the plan.
That's definitely the plan.
Absolutely. I think I'm going to have to make a video soon about, you know, why people should be looking at permanent residency as soon as possible, because there's so many more benefits that you get from being a resident rather than just being on some kind of sponsored visa. I mean, a sponsored visa is a great way to get people here, and if you're young enough and you have fewer responsibilities, then that's just one of the pathways in. But you know, things like buying a house, childcare subsidy, again, even for us to be able to qualify for state maternity pay, we had to be permanent residents for at least 2 years. So I timed it perfectly. I think we arrived on September the 15th. We activated our visas in 2020, and Sierra was born pretty much bang on.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Very good timing.
Then that's it.
If you can get that after 18 months, that would definitely be something that I'd recommend.
We want to,
because when you get it as well, it's like you can start to set down roots more. I mean, you're already probably starting to do that anyway, but it just means that you get that more permanency.
Yeah.
I know that when I was selling everything up in England and getting rid of stuff, that was one of the things that I was thinking to myself, oh, what if I need one of them again?
Yeah.
I mean, I'll have to go and buy another one, I know, but you spend that little bit of your life, even with you guys buying your house, and then, all right, we have to measure things to make sure we're going to put it in there, but it's that element of permanency. How does it feel knowing that perhaps for the next 18 months, 2 years, that it is all going to be a little bit new? And
I don't feel like it's looming over me that we're on a 4-year countdown. But I think it will definitely feel better to make it permanent. It's, in a way, there's pressure kind of to make sure I like what I'm doing at work, and that, more importantly, the people at work like me, to be honest, because if they don't like me, then they won't want to make me permanent. So,
well, the beauty with Australians is if they don't like you, they'll probably tell you straight away.
Well, but that's good, because we don't have any of that at home, do we?
No.
So I think that's the thing. It would be good to kind of know at a certain point that we're heading towards that maybe the ball started rolling and people are saying, let's get you looking at permanent residency if you want to. But what do you think, Annie?
Yeah, I feel really good here. I mean, obviously now I know I'm not going back to work, which is great. But
feeling.
Yeah, I'm a little bit not nervous, but I'm just really hopeful that Adam likes his job, because that is how we're here. They sorted out all our visas, it's sponsored. So as long, no pressure, obviously, but as long as that is all going well, then I'm going to feel great. And just hopefully we can get the permanent residency and then look at, because we still own our house at home. So we've kept that so that hopefully if we are staying here, we can then sell that and buy here. Mm-hmm. And that is, and
hopefully the prices will go up a little bit more in England, just to help you out a little bit.
That would be good. That would definitely be good.
Just for everyone that doesn't know, what is an OT and what do you do?
So it's occupational therapy. It can kind of, it's not like a doctor or a nurse where you specialise in a certain area when you study. I can say I can technically cover a lot of things, physical health and all sorts, but I've always worked in mental health, and that's been my sort of main area of specialty. So it's mainly looking at the day-to-day things that maybe people wouldn't always think about, because for the most part people do sort of their routine and structure and can kind of get from A to B without difficulties. So it's mainly where people are affected by sort of real mental health difficulties. That's where I would come in to help someone who's really struggling with their routine or is struggling to get a job or to manage their day to day. It's giving people those opportunities and finding ways to map that out, to be able to move forward in that way.
Well, one of the things that I've noticed in Australia since COVID, since we came here, is that anything to do with healthcare is really important. And that's probably what most people that are having visas granted at the moment are really getting theirs granted on. So I'm sure that there's going to be plenty of work out there for you, and something that's kind of going to give you a little bit of purpose as well. And it just really resonates with me, you talking about what you do for people's mental health and how to help them with purpose and that benefiting them. I think it really does show why you wanted to move here as well. If whilst I don't want to say, you know, your mental health was negatively like impacted, but definitely your move here should hopefully help you if lots of those kind of daily routine things can be ticked off or at least be better here.
I think so.
Annie, what did you do?
Well, I worked as a benefits officer for a little while. I actually recently got a new job just before I had Isaac as in pensions. So I only just started doing like qualifications for that. Obviously now that's going to be on hold a little bit. So yeah, maybe when he goes to school, I might get back into that or try something new, because I feel like
the world is your oyster now.
There's a lot of options and opportunities here. So who knows what I'll end up doing, really.
Sam felt exactly the same when she moved here, and she had lots of qualifications in lots of different things. And we just kind of had a chat one day and thought, okay, what is it that you want to do? She's even looking back into doing some bits that she used to do in England, just from more of a business perspective. And it's a great feeling not having to go to work, but then also kind of thinking, do you know what? New opportunity, new life. What have we got?
Yeah, definitely.
Let's see what I can do.
Who knows?
It's fantastic. That pressure to choose. I think it's knowing that we'll be okay, and just, you know, what I'll be on, knowing that Annie, when the time comes, if you know, it can kind of be, well, what do I want to look at? Not, oh God, I need to just find something.
Yeah, like not desperate.
Can have a little bit of a look around and be quite flexible with it too, which is definitely a good thing.
We're all trading our time for money as well, so whatever can reimburse you the most for your time.
Yeah, exactly.
Hopefully you enjoy it.
That's the plan.
Exactly.
So tell us about your migration journey then so far, like getting your visas. I mean, being sponsored, I suppose, is the dream for a lot of people. How did that work for you?
Honestly, so I was just... I think one of the main things was I was thinking about Australia a bit. One of the things that I just kept, because of like the time and things, I was up with Isaac in the night. It was pretty much Australia time, so I was watching a lot of the Super Rugby with like Melbourne Rebels and you know, a lot of the other teams in that. So I was watching a lot of that, and just it just made me think a bit more. Like, oh, maybe I should. I don't know. It was another thing that kept reminding me. So
you're the first person that I've heard of that I was watching Australian rugby, and then I thought, do you know what? I want to move to Australia.
It was just another thing that kept sort of niggling away, really. But yeah, so I just sort of sat there one day, like, it's another reminder. So I just googled occupational therapy jobs Australia, and it was on MedHealth, who I'm going to be sort of working through a company through them. So it just came up, and I fill in some details. So I did. It was that easy. I literally just got in touch with someone a couple of days later, and they were like, "Yeah, I've had a look over your CV, and basically we've been wanting people with over 2 years' experience," which I had. They were like, "Let's put you through for an interview." So I was like, "This is happening pretty fast." Like, it was literally over like a week.
It was so fast.
And then they were like, "Oh, where would you want to live?" And I was like, I honestly thought I'd just get told, like, there's this random place in this state, like, that's where
like
the job
Northern
is.
Territory or something.
Yeah, literally, I'd be like, that's fine, like, anywhere kind of just to get over, really. But they were like, "Where do you want to work?" And we were like, well, Melbourne, or possibly after that would be the Gold Coast, would be our main two options. So let's explore that. And they were like, "Okay, we've got you an interview for the Melbourne team in like a couple of days time." And I was like, it was just almost like too real to be too good to be true. And it was like, so yeah, that all happened pretty fast. And then obviously
and once he said that he had an interview, I kind of knew we'd be going, because he's literally never not got a job from an interview. So from that moment, I was like, oh my God, I think we're moving to Australia.
One of the things I've found with Australians is if it takes a while to get an interview, that's not a problem. Things can kind of go a little bit slower here anyway. But I don't want to say Australians are lazy, because they're definitely not. But if they don't even bother to interview you, then that's okay, because that just means you weren't interesting enough. But if they do, that means there's kind of that element of buy-in there. Like, oh, I'm not even going to bother to interview you if I'm not really interested. So it's just more of a proof that you're okay and you're not a weirdo. Kind of. I think there's a saying from the Sydney Swans, which is an AFL team. Yeah. I think. Don't quote me on that.
They are.
I know them.
Yeah, there you go. See, I'm learning stuff. And their motto is no dickheads. So
good motto.
All the interview test is just to prove you're not a dickhead, and you'll be fine.
That honestly seemed like that. It was like so informal. Like the guy who was interviewing me was like one of the top people in the company. And he spent most of the interview showing me this tree being chopped down in his garden, and it was like the funniest thing. He was literally like having a laugh with me, and I was like, if this was back home, the interviews in the UK are so formal. We're having a small cry.
It's okay.
You recovered?
It's okay.
I think so.
I think we're all good. Crisis averted.
When did that all start then for you?
Was it May? I think he was only a month old.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was about 5 or 6 months ago. So all in all, it's taken about 5 months from getting an interview or searching for the job and arriving here. Yeah. So it's been.
And when was everything confirmed then? So if it's 5-6 months from start to finish from actually getting here, when was things confirmed and then you realised?
There was little milestones along the way. I think because it feels like that. Honestly, I've never experienced so much paperwork in my life.
Yeah,
it's been beyond belief. Like, you think you've finished it all, and then it's like, great, you've done that. Now there's this to do. But so there's been little things along the way. So I had to get my visa sorted, but then I had to get my APRA registration in principle first. So I had to do. I think that's like 20 something pages to fill in. So I had to get that sorted and approved. So I got that. I got the visa, obviously, as well.
But you got the job offer really quickly.
Yeah, the job offer.
And then they kind of left it up to us for when we want to come. So we originally said that we would come January time, early next year, because I thought it would take us ages to just get things together, really, and get sorted to come. But as the months went by, it was kind of and everything going on at home, bills rising and all that. We just thought, you know what, let's just go.
Yeah.
And so
can't afford to spend another winter in England.
Well, exactly.
Well, I think that was the thing. It was a few little milestones. It was we knew we were going because we got the job offer, but then it was just in case, I need to make sure I've got my registration. I need to make sure the visa will go through. Because there was I had to do a few police checks and things just because that's standard. And it's just little things like that. You just know you have to do, and it's just little things along the way. I knew obviously nothing would come up on a police check, but it's just a little thing. You want to make sure it gets through, and you've got the thing saying yes.
Why is it taking so long? What have they found out about?
Well, that's the thing. I was like, have I done something? But
I don't think I've committed any
crime. That's the thing. Did I? No. But yeah, it was just felt like a lot of little things, really. But
packing up the house was just a crazy thing to do.
Yeah.
Did you put it all in storage?
No,
Did you
everything
sell it?
is gone.
I know
we just came here with our suitcases. We kept the house, obviously, rented that out, and we left it part furnished.
All those things that you've measured perfectly, you just had to get rid of. What did you use to get rid of your stuff?
So it's pretty much Facebook Marketplace and Vinted.
And then at the end, it was take it to the charity shop.
So yeah, it was pretty much just we weighed all of our cases and got what we could. But yeah, we just bought the 70 kg allowance.
We just got regular plane tickets, and it was
one way.
30 kilos each, plus hand luggage, plus the baby stuff.
Yeah.
And so the week before we came, we had to move into Adam's parents' house. So we literally had like a couple of carfuls of bin bags and suitcases, and then in the last week I just had to sort through it all again, weigh it all, and then whatever we couldn't bring, his parents took to the charity shop or kept.
Pretty much. And I only finished work on the Friday, and then we flew on the Wednesday. So I barely had any time to finish and then like properly relax before we came over anyway. So it was all a bit chaotic, but we've made it. That's the main thing.
So it was very stressful and really weird to get rid of everything, especially when you know, oh, I'm going to need this in a couple of weeks, months, whatever. So now we're in the process of basically buying everything again that we couldn't bring, but it's just not.
Look back on Facebook Marketplace again.
Yeah, exactly. We are. Yeah,
buying stuff.
It's just not. It's not worth the cost to bring it over.
Definitely sentimental things.
Yeah, we bought some of that.
Probably going to be worth the cost. But yeah, like some of our baby stuff that we brought over for. Yeah. I mean, just thinking, are we going to have another one? I mean, Sam was pretty. Yes, we are going to have another one.
Of course, you compromise.
But even some of those things we haven't. You just go on. You get rid of it on Facebook Marketplace in one part of the world, and then just buy it back off of someone else in another. Yeah. Did you do all of your paperwork yourself then?
Yeah, so we did it all, but
no, we had a migration agent.
Oh yeah, not the. Sorry, I was thinking my OT registration. So for my registration, I did it all. Then for the visa, through the company I'll be working for, they have a migration agent who does all of that.
Fantastic. Yeah. Just to kind of make sure that you get through and nothing bad happens. You don't feel anything wrong that's going to mean you get it cancelled or something like that.
That was a major help though to have that, because I had to do so much for the OT registration. It was nice to know that was just pretty simple.
Okay, so aside from then having to do all of that paperwork for your visas and your OT stuff, even with the help of an agent to help that as well, what else has been kind of your biggest challenges so far?
Reactions of family, I think. It's a hard one, because obviously we've just given our parents a grandchild and now have taken him away. So, yeah, it's quite...
How did they take it that when you told them you wanted to go to Australia?
Overall, the response was as good as we could have hoped.
They did their best to remain positive, I think. They're obviously very sad, but they completely understand why we're doing it, especially my parents as well, because I've been talking about it for years and years, so they expected it from me. I think Adam's parents, when we told them we were at breakfast, and it was completely silent. So I was just like shoveling pancakes.
More like a shocked silence rather than like a disappointed. Like I could not have hoped for them to have taken it better, because it's not good news for them to take. So I think they took it really, really well, as good as they could have. But obviously that was a real challenge, because it's just been hard for, like, they'd say, oh, should we do this? And then it's like, we're all just sort of mutually realising that, we won't be there to do the thing they've just mentioned, and stuff like that. So I think that's been probably the biggest challenge. But I think for that aside, I don't really know if there's been anything else like really.
Have the parents on both sides, have they ever been to Australia?
Mine
have they ever been to Melbourne?
Yeah, they visited when I was here the second time. So yeah, they're all really excited to visit us one day, and thankfully they will be able to do that.
They started saving already.
Maybe, yeah.
Hopefully.
But my parents haven't. They've never been over this way, but they definitely want to. And even like they've said they want to go to Bali and stuff. So sort of
meeting halfway. It doesn't have to be coming to Australia.
Planning holidays,
stuff like that.
Yeah, you think Bali's really close, but it's still probably about halfway.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the thing. But yeah, just stuff like that. Like knowing that when we do all meet up, it's going to be lovely family holidays and things, rather than just like it'll definitely be quality over quantity. But that's that's the life I've chose, to be honest. So
yeah, even like you were saying before, it'd be better than just you dumping children on them so that you can go to work.
Exactly.
All of that sort of,
which I'm sure they would absolutely love as well. Yeah, like you say, we're gonna, now when we have the opportunity to see them, it's going to be quality memories rather than just day to day. coping. No other challenges though?
Just finding time generally to get everything done, like especially with a baby, and Adam literally working till a few days before our flight. It's been very like consuming and just.
I think that's been the main thing.
Yeah,
the
a
only
lot
other thing
to
I
do.
can think of, I know I've mentioned
Stressful.
paperwork a million times, but keeping the motivation with that, because the amount of times I've literally gone to bed and I thought, that is it now. I've literally said, that is it,
Yeah.
we're done, that's it, and then it's...
And then another
actually, there's
email.
one more thing, or now you've done that, you need to do this. It's just keeping motivation with that, thinking, oh my gosh, like this is just taking forever, but I think looking back now, I can just see that it's all so worth it, because it's done now.
We're here.
And I guess for some people as well, where their migration journey might be stretched over a much longer period. You've had to do everything all in such a small amount of time, and it does kind of feel a little bit never ending. There's no pausing.
No, there wasn't.
It's just been like very condensed into a really sort of short amount of time. Good boy.
He's telling us how he thinks about it
He's
as well.
loving it.
Story.
What's the best thing that you've done with Isaac then so far? Perhaps even something that you think you couldn't have done in England.
Being on the tram.
Yeah, honestly, I
no trams in Coventry.
But I actually, it sounds a bit nerdy, but I absolutely love like trams and stuff like that. So, but yeah, like he genuinely loves like going on buses and stuff like that. So. He's loved that,
and there's good public transport here.
But it's just been good. Yeah, it's been really good to get around. Like we've seen so many different places. We've gone down to Bentley, one of the areas in Melbourne we've been looking at, and McKinnon and some other places. We've seen the CBD, which is really, really, really nice. We've seen St Kilda. Just loads of like being able to have such a good city, but by the sea as well. There's just so many little. Places that you can go to. I think what's
the weather like down there at the
moment? I've just looked, and next week looks pretty good.
We're not sure what's going on.
Oh, I think it's swapping around then, because we've got 30 degrees today, and then next week when we're thinking about pulling Aurora from daycare for a few days to spend some family time, I think it would be a thunderstorm.
Maybe we'll get some nice weather then.
Yeah, I think it might be coming this way.
We trade it around.
It finally looks like it's going.
It's at least warmer than home. It's not that bad. It's just a bit strange. It's meant to be sunny and hot, but it's not yet.
I know you've only been here kind of a week now, but what are your plans for the future?
The first one, as we mentioned earlier, to definitely get permanent residency. That's definitely the plan. So whatever we have to do to get to there, to feel settled, I think is one of the main sort of short-term things, sort of short to mid-term. Because I think it's been so stressful over the last few months, and I know it's going to take a while to get used to my job and used to everything that, as much as I love it here, it's going to take some time to get used to everything. So just how it all works. So feeling settled with that would be a good thing.
Find a nice place to rent to start with.
Yeah, definitely.
But the future, permanent residency, buying somewhere. We may decide to try a different state or stay in Melbourne. We're not sure.
You said the Gold Coast before. What's attracting you about the Gold Coast?
The beach and the weather. Because obviously, like, there's nice beaches here, but the weather isn't like that typical Australia weather that everyone thinks Australia is. Yeah. But we're just going to have to see.
See how you feel after that first winter.
I think the main thing is we wanted to move to Melbourne because Annie's lived here, and it seems like a really good place to live. I mean, I don't have any intentions on anything other than sort of setting up here really and loving it here. I think
have you looked at house prices yet?
Yeah, and that is what I've been telling Adam is what might make us change cities.
Yeah, house
when we
prices
come to buy a house, it may not actually be possible here, but you know that's maybe a couple of years down the line, so we shall see. And
a lot can change in that time as well.
Just enjoy life, like not always planning to get away, like just literally enjoy like time outside of work and our weekends and time off, exploring the country.
One of the things, exploring Australia, the whole of it is one of the main things in terms of seeing things. I can't wait to do, because I've never been over here, so I can't wait to see everything. But I think the one thing that really, really stuck with me, actually, was something that you put on your Instagram the other week. I think it was about creating a life that I'm struggling to remember.
What was it that you
don't need a vacation
yeah,
from?
exactly.
That is just our whole reason for being here, really. Like,
not needing
in a few words,
the constant escape from how busy life is at home in the UK. Just kind of enjoying the everyday more is something that is definitely something we want to do.
and maybe have an Australian baby.
Yeah,
absolutely. Well, once you have permanent residency as well, they get a passport quicker than you do.
yeah.
I've got to put in for Sierra's one. She I think she qualifies, but
So does she get a Australian passport or?
Yeah. So because I think the ruling is, as she's born in Australia and she's born to parents who are permanent residents, she qualifies for citizenship.
Oh, cool.
So even though we don't yet for at least another 2 years, so I won't believe it until I've got the passport. And I think it probably will be easier to get a British one anyway, because that paperwork I'm a little bit more familiar with.
Right.
But we'll see.
That's cool.
So she's like
before us.
fully Australian baby.
Yeah, and the other one sounds Australian as well. So
to be fair, you do a little bit now.
You do.
I think from like your first videos to now, definitely you're picking up the local language.
Changing slowly. Well, he probably will never have an English accent.
Exactly.
I think he'll be able to do it, because Aurora, she'll say yogurt, even though I sometimes say yogurt as well. It's like she just switches.
Right, okay.
So if she's at daycare, she'll speak more Australian. She didn't know what a welly was the other day. We were doing one of those like Peppa Pig.
Are they gumboots? Yeah.
Gumboots, yeah. Yeah. So we were looking at like W for what, and I was pointing to it, and she was in a puddle, I think. So she said water, and I was like, no, it's the shoe. What is it?
And she doesn't
was
know.
Like, gumboots. Yeah, she had no idea. Why does that work? She still hasn't really got the concept of letters and things like that, so she didn't really know the W. But she's learning.
That's cool.
And she's learning it all in an Australian way, which is great.
Very cool.
Is there anything that's been a nice surprise, and then is there anything that's been perhaps a negative surprise? Okay.
Cheaper. Now I say that, some things being more expensive, some things being less expensive. It's strange. Weird, like how some things are just different. It's like, oh, that's really good when we convert it. But
have you looked at the price of peppers yet?
Oh I saw them the other day. It was like, I think it was $10.
You wait till they're out of season as well.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So we won't be eating peppers.
No.
Oh no, you can. You just probably won't eat not as much abundance.
Yeah, one chopped up to last a month. Yeah. I think
chop out really small.
You were really surprised when we walked in the supermarket, like all the fruit and veg.
Oh yeah, that was the thing. Literally seeing everything that's just said Aussie grown, Aussie made, and it's like, really? Like, I was kind of like anticipating that quite a bit, but literally everything is just grown over here because there's so many different climates and things. And
you might get some tin stuff that's imported. But most of the fresh stuff, if not all of it. I'd also recommend as well, shopping-wise, if you're looking for fresh stuff, go to your local butchers, go to your local greengrocers, which, again, is something that we never really did in England, because you're like, for a start, where is it? And then I'm not paying that much, because they're always more expensive, because it just has to be. They always get undercut by some kind of imported stuff. But here, you'll get the in-season stuff. It'll be cheaper because it will come from the farm down the road, and they won't have to, Coles and Woolies and stuff, they've got massive supply networks that things probably have to come in from interstate to be able to get it in. But the farmers, they'll give you, this is what's growing at the moment from the guy that's, a few Ks down the road, and that's why it's so cheap.
That's good to know. We'll definitely go and check
Yeah, we will do that.
Yeah. And you'll find as well, you'll eat more seasonally, because you'll go, hey, I'll eat all the peppers when they're in season.
When the peppers get,
it'll drop down to like about $4 a kilo. Same thing with strawberries. If you want to buy strawberries out of the season, they can cost like $20 a kilo.
Yeah, because we've been buying a lot now, but I guess they're in season, aren't they? So
Yeah, maybe just coming out. I think the season probably would have been about September or
Yeah.
October. Well, that is in Queensland.
Yeah, I think
anyway,
we're quite
so-
lucky because being in Victoria, it's kind of fairly similar strawberry growing sort of climate to back home. Because I know that's where a lot of them are grown.
Do you have any regrets about your move so far? I mean, I know you're going to probably be living in Candyland and
No.
Honestly,
regrets at all.
no. Like this, I've always wanted to live here since I came. I'm happy that Adam was convinced to do it. Really, no. Like this is what I've always wanted. Hopefully, it's what Adam wants, and we're just hopeful that it is going to be everything we want it to be and imagine it to be, and better than
well,
the UK.
it's actually it's actually great to hear where. I mean, for me, it was always my drive, and then Sam is the tag along. But it's actually great to hear that someone else's partner who hasn't necessarily driven the whole move is still so positive about everything. And even just hearing from both of you, I think sometimes you probably think that Adam could have been the driving force for it, which is great to hear.
Yeah, well, especially once we'd bought the house and had Isaac, I'd kind of just put it to the back of my mind, and it was him that brought it up again. So then, yeah, we're both
Awesome.
definitely on the same
I
page.
think that was a good thing, knowing that it was. So Annie had sort of driven it to a certain point, and then it was knowing that it was me who sort of reignited
Rekindled.
it. Rekindled, whichever word's better. Knowing that it was me who did that, I think is a good thing, because then it's both of us. Sort of Annie started it all and said that's what I
and your
wanted to,
family couldn't blame me for
yeah.
taking you away.
Yeah, so it's good that I know that this is what I want. So yeah, it's really good, but absolutely no regrets at all.
And if you could do it all again, what would you change?
Not buying the bassinet seat.
We didn't pay extra for it.
Oh yeah. Well,
It was a little bit extra for the legroom. But
yeah, there you go.
yeah.
Wasn't that
okay.
much, but if we could do anything again, I think if we'd had saved a little bit more money, because we're fine, but if we could have just saved up a bit more, that might have
It's
been
kind of out of
might
our
have been a good
hands,
thing, but
though.
it's out of our hands because it was over such a short period of time anyway.
Short period of time, you can only earn so much, can't you?
Yeah, exactly. Anything else we would have changed?
I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. I think as it is, I cannot complain at all. Really, really happy, to be honest.
And what advice would you give people who are also looking to make the move, especially when they might be on a sponsored visa, they might be having to do things so quickly as well? What advice would you give them?
Just take it day by day, be very organised. I had endless lists going and just ticking things off day to day, like little things. It's like little by little, and you end up getting there. And just
Any advice for the children, like if people are doing it as well with young children?
I think about, because that's been a big thing for us moving, knowing that Isaac will have a better life, knowing that although it's going to be difficult in the short term, it's going to be a long term of a better future, really. But
yeah, when it was difficult getting things done, I just kept saying to myself, like, it's going to be worth it. Once, like, one day we're going to be sat in our house in Australia or on the beach or whatever, and it's all going to be worth it.
Yeah.
So,
I think that if I could hammer home one thing to people even thinking about it, it would be, so this is kind of split up into two things, but ultimately, I know it sounds cliche, but if you can do it and you want to do it, to just do it, as hard as it is, and I'm someone who I find paperwork and stuff like that really difficult, just to read and interpret all the information, but to know that I've done that, and I did it myself with a little bit of help with money, that it's been so worth it, because, and if you can do it, just do it. But also to know that you aren't responsible for how your family take it. We've been lucky with how our family have responded to things. I know a lot of people back home have said, oh, I'm jealous, I would have loved to have done that, I wish we could have done that years ago. But, like family and stuff, I think a lot of people feel responsible for needing to be around their parents to look after them. I think that's what I'm just getting a general consensus that people say.
everyone not everyone, but most people that we tell that we're moving, they their response is like they're jealous or that they wish they could have done it. So I would say just it would be worse for someone to, get older and then think, oh, I've missed my chance. I can't. Because especially the age limits and things on the visa, you don't want to miss out.
Yeah, I think that's definitely
regret not doing it.
Thanks, Adam and Annie, for sharing your journey with us, and I hope it's given you all a greater insight into how quickly you can move to Australia if you really, really want to. If you want to see more of what our life is like in Australia, then you can check us out on our YouTube channel at That Johnston Life. And if you've been inspired to see if you can make the move too, then remember to speak to our friends at True Blue Migration Services. With their free, no obligation assessment, let them tell you what your best chances are for moving to this beautiful country. Follow the hundreds of positive reviews on Google and fill out their free eligibility assessment at www.truebluemigrationservices.com. See you next time.